Hiya, welcome back to another episode here on This Is Just the Beginning. I hope you guys are well, and whatever you're doing, whether you're sitting in bed listening to this, out on a walk, on a run, or at work, I hope you are having a good day. Today we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked but incredibly important. I've spoken about this a few times over the last, 4 months it's been now since I've made this decision, and I just wanted to kind of get into it a bit deeper, but with a short episode, just kind of explaining why I decided to do this. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that what I'm talking about is taking a year out of university to prioritise my mental health and discover what I really want to do in my life. I hope that this helps at least one person out there who is considering doing this or has done this, and maybe we're in the same boat where we're having this year off now from this September to next September, and you're a bit scared like I was, and I'll kind of go through kind of what I've got planned this year and how I felt about it and how I feel about it now. So let's go right in. We're going to start with the decision I made of taking a year out, and it wasn't a hard decision for me. Over the last 2 years, as you all know if you've listened to this, I have struggled a lot at uni, and there's not been more than a few days that's been like a good time when I was at uni, so it has been a real struggle, and kind of knowing that I could take a year out with the help with my tutors and my parents and everyone around me, it made me like feel much more reassured because I knew that there was an option and I didn't have to keep ploughing along with my kind of life at uni, even though I just wasn't enjoying it. When I say it wasn't a hard decision, I mean, it kind of was because I was so scared. I didn't know what I was meant to do. I was meant to go on my year abroad. Now I'm meant to be going to Spain right now, but obviously I'm not. And I was scared of what other people would think of me. That was the big thing. That was the scariest thing, because everyone else around me were graduating or carrying on with their years or going on the year abroad or doing placement years, doing all these incredible stuff. And I was kind of stuck in this mindset and just, yeah, I just felt stuck. And that was like the worst feeling. And I think we all feel this from time to time. And I just thought enough was enough. I need to make a change. I cannot carry on like this. And my parents agreed, and we had many talks. And then eventually we decided that I'd just have a year out. My mental health had also gotten to a point where it was really hard to kind of be at uni, and every time I went back to uni, whether I was at my boyfriend's house, my sister's house, my parents' house, like I never wanted to go back to uni and I'd want to stay there longer and put off going back to uni. And I've been doing that since the very first term I was there in first year. And yeah, my parents saw that and eventually just got to a point where I was like, I can't keep kind of waiting for the next best thing, because that was the advice I was getting from all my friends, my parents, just, oh, you've got to like plan something at the end of the week to look forward to, or plan something that you can do every week to make you feel better, like go on a solo date, go to the gym, all these things. But I was like, I'm doing those things, but then I'm just waiting for the next best thing. And then it got to a point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to start living in the present. I realised also that I needed time to heal and rediscover myself. And it's taken a lot of self reflection to get to the point where I am now to kind of realise that I need to start prioritising my well being. If you know me, you'll know that I am really big on wellness, well-being, self-care, all of those kind of things. And when the That Girl trend was in last year, if you know about that, I was so on board with that. However, again, I feel a bit guilty, and I talked about this in my last episode, that I just feel guilty that I haven't been that person over the last, how many months has it been? 8, 9, 10 months. And that's because I tied so much of my identity to my previous traumas and my previous kind of experiences with mental health that I was still hanging on to those things, and I couldn't like then be a new person having kind of recovered from those things and having gone through them and kind of put them to one side. I still felt like I had to have this identity attached to, my eating disorder or past trauma and stuff like that. And it was kind of interesting to kind of realise that, and I only realised this a month or so ago, that I got into a point where I was really upset because I was like, oh, I'm so big on wellness. Why am I still feeling awful, and why am I not journaling? Why am I not doing all these things? And I realised that every now and again people go through chapters in their life where they're so big on one thing and then they're not. And I know that I should prioritise my well-being, and the fact that I can think that and the fact that I can say that again does show a lot of progress, that I am now focusing on it. Even if I'm not actively doing things to look after myself, I know that I should be, and I think that that is still a step in the right direction. During this time and like any of the hardship you face, you've got to really be gentle with yourself. So that's kind of the first piece of advice I would give, and I say this every single episode, like you've got to take that moment for yourself, and you've got to be gentle and kind to yourself, because otherwise you won't heal. And you have to be patient. Like, it's not an easy journey with whatever you're going through, and I've noticed that now. As soon as I made the decision to drop out, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna spiral, or I thought that I was a failure and I thought these negative things, then I realised only a month ago that you need to be kind to yourself. Like, I've got a whole year to prioritise my mental health, and I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot that this is what this year is for. But it's also about me finding what I want to do in life. And I think I have found that, but we're going to get onto that later on in the episode. But again, I kind of forgot that I was taking this year out for my mental health. And then when I realised that, it kind of became a lot easier to address that instead of just ploughing on with life and forgetting about the whole reason why I'm here where I am right now. The next bit I kind of want to go on to, kind of coming away from that, is navigating the kind of stigma and expectations. Because society often places a lot of pressure on us to follow a linear path in like education and career. And that's what I was worried about. I was worried about people thinking like, oh yeah, you're dropping out of uni. Are you even going to go back? Are you even going to get a degree? Like, what can you do without a degree? And I was really worried that that's what people were thinking. But on one side, my tutors were being so helpful. My parents were being helpful. But then in my mind, in my crazy mind, I thought that people were being like, yeah, that's not a good decision. You need a degree, hun. And yeah. And I just had all this kind of doubt in myself based on what I thought other people were thinking. And again, I think we're very quick on that in this generation and society in these times. Like, we're very quick to think, oh, that's what that person's thinking and I'm a failure, they think I'm a failure. Like, especially that's what we often think that our parents are thinking, when most of the time they're not thinking that. That's the last thing they want you to think. So as soon as I kind of addressed the stigma and the expectations was kind of what I made up in my head, which a lot of the time is like, a lot of the time we make up other people's standards for them in our mind, and we think that that is a standard they want, when most of the time people just want us to be ourselves. If you're around people who don't want that, then you need to get new people in your life. But yeah, I genuinely think that I was making up all these things in my head and realized, actually no, like, my family, my friends, my boyfriend, like, they all just want me to be happy and or just be okay. And if that meant me taking a year out of uni, so be it. And that's not a bad thing. I don't know why people think it is a bad thing. Because, yeah, I might go back next year, I might go back the year after, or I might not. And in these days, like, you don't need a degree. And again, I'm not thinking about that, because that's this time next year I have to make that decision. And for now, I'm happy with where I am. And it's taken me a long time to get here. And I kind of like it. But again, the stigma and expectations is definitely something that we do all face, like, with whatever we go through and whatever decision we make. We're like, oh, is this the right thing? Like, what are people going to think of me? But I think we have to remind ourselves that well-being is the most paramount thing. And so I've surrounded myself with a supportive circle of friends who understand my decision, and they encourage me on focusing on healing, because that's why I'm having the year out. Yeah, it's to get a job and to focus on my career prospects, but that's kind of my secondary thing. For now, it is working on my mental health. And it's also important to remember that our journey is unique, and it's okay to detour to find what truly makes us happy. And that's something that I've been focusing on so much recently, that again, we don't have this linear path in our lives. We're all different. We can all focus on different things at different times in our life. And whether you get a degree now or later or not at all, it doesn't matter. Whether you get a six-figure job now or in 50 years' time, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter when you do things or if you do them. We're all different. Don't compare yourself to others, because people put in different amounts of effort. They know people. That's a big thing as well in our world. You think, why is that person so successful? They might know someone, they might have contacts, someone might be in their family who can help them with that. You don't know what people have gone through to get to that stage, or they've just worked really hard. Like, as soon as you start comparing yourself to people, it makes it so much harder to feel okay. And it's hard, like, I still do it, as I've just explained, but I'm really trying to learn to push that aside, because everyone compares and then that makes everyone feel miserable. So if we just learn one by one that comparing serves no purpose other than, yeah, a bit of healthy competition, but not about everything you do with everyone, you know what I mean? So I think that's something that we all need to stop doing with whatever you're going through or not going through. Now I kind of want to just get on to kind of my plans for this year. And I'm going to talk about it briefly because, again, I decided to pull out. I mean, it's what day is it? It's almost September. Okay, so I've kind of just had the summer holidays like I would if I was going back to uni. But I did my exams, so a lot of people, when they pull out there and then, but I decided this at the beginning of the summer term, so kind of like just as exams were about to start, and my tutor was like, are you sure you want to do your exams? Because obviously you're going through a lot mental health wise, like, is it the right decision, etc. And I was like, I think it is because I've put in the work this year, even though I'd put in no work, and that was my first sign of like, yeah, I'm not doing well because I just was not putting in my work, and I'm always like the most studious person people will know, and I just wasn't doing it. Um, but they're like, "Are you sure you want to do your exams?" I was like, "Yes." And if I do badly, I can retake them. There's other options, but I just want to get them out of the way because I was stressing about that part as well. Because they said you can do them in April, you can do them in September, you can not do them at all, you can repeat the year, and there were so many options, so that's what I was really happy about. But I did my exams and I didn't do well. I passed them all, I did okay. I didn't do amazingly, but you know what I mean, like it's fine. I did okay for what I was going through. Like I was quite proud of how well I did, even though I didn't put in the work. You know what I mean? Um, then I did my exams. I did them from home, apart from when I had to go in to do them because I had a few in person. And then I kind of just had the craziest June and July ever. I went on holiday, I had my birthday, I had all these little events happening, and then I started my job. And as soon as I literally had that conversation with the wellbeing team and my tutor, the day back, the day I got back from holiday at the start of term three, when I got on that plane and I had the conversation with my mum, because I was meant to go back to uni like that day later on when we got home, and I was like, I'm not going back, mum. And then we had that conversation, and I made the decision there and then. Like, people think that it was that kind of decision that took a while. No, because in a way I was thinking about it for 2 years anyway. You know, it was just like it needed to be done. It had been needing to be done for so long. So I, as soon as I made that decision, I went on job search straight away, looking for social media jobs, social media marketing, digital marketing, and I found a few, applied to loads, heard back from pretty much none of them. So then I was a little disheartened, but then I was like, right, no, Ellie, focus on your exams, do a bit of work now. You've got the whole year to get a job, you don't need to go on straight away. Because again, I thought my dad especially would be like, oh, you need to get a job if you're going to be living here, you know? But obviously my parents was just so, what's the word, just reassuring, so supportive, and just saying, you do you, like, we're here for you for the whole year, you can stay at home, just try and find a job, but for now just focus on you. And that really did help me. And then eventually it was kind of partway through my exams, I had my interview for the job I have now on the day I also finished my exams. So I went in, it was the 16th of July, 16th of June. So I went in for my exam in person and then drove from there with loads of stuff in my car because I was packing up because that was the last time I'd be there. Loads of stuff in my car. And then I drove all the way to my job interview, which was about 45 minutes away from my uni, and then it was another 45 minutes then from home. But I did my exam. Again, I was not thinking about that exam. I wanted to get it out the way because I was thinking about my interview. And then I went to my interview, kind of crashed the interview. And then a few days later, I got the call saying I got the job, and I was just so happy because that was the only job I found in content creation that was actually content creation and not just like marketing. This was literally the only job in my, like, where I live. Like, obviously there's those in London, but in the West Midlands or anywhere around here, that was the only job available, and I got it, and I was so happy. But then I started about a month later because I was so busy in July, and I was like, would you mind if I start on this date? They were like, yeah, sure. And now I've been at that company for over a month now, and that is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I'm really, really living life because it's a part-time job. I work 1 day in the office, 2 days from home. It's really chill. I just make Instagram and TikTok content, and I love it. I love it so much. I love the brand, I love the company, and it's good pay, and I'm doing well. And yeah, I just really love it. And this definitely was the career path I meant to go down, or just even just like a side hustle for now, I think it is. And it's really kicking me up the arse to get my podcast and my blog on track as well, which is what I'm doing now. But yeah, I'm really excited about this job and where it could lead me. But it's a 6 month contract, and I'm pretty sure I'll just be doing the 6 months because I was thinking at the start, like, oh, maybe I could carry on for a bit longer, but again, we'll see. But in my mind, I'll just stop at the 6 months at the end, and then I've got, if I'm going back to uni, I've got another 6 months. During these 6 months, so from tomorrow, I'm going to be starting my personal trainer course, online course, to get my personal trainer certificate because I've been wanting to get that for so many years, and it is a job that you can just do from wherever, online, in person, in any country. It's internationally recognised, and it's just an easy way to make money now or in the future, and that's why I'm doing it. And it's obviously, I love the gym, I love helping people, and it's just the kind of perfect kind of side job for me, or just like part-time job. So I'm really excited to get that done. So then hopefully in like after I've done that, after these 6 months, I can then get a job in PT, um, and stuff like that. Or I'm just kind of thinking of just getting kind of like a retail job or something for those 6 months, just because I can then like not think about work all the time, and it's just kind of like, like a retail job or a bar job or something, which I've heard are not easy, but I don't know yet. But I'm kind of just thinking in the present and just going along with what life is like right now. And will I go back to uni? I don't know. In my mind right now, I am. But again, so many opportunities could come up, and I'm not planning my life out right now. The next few years are going to be all up in the air, and I'm just really excited for it. To wrap it up, I'm just kind of going to give people some advice for others that are considering a year out. And I can't really give much advice because obviously I've just kind of started my year out. But the first thing I would say is that make the decision unapologetically. Do it for you, don't do it for your friends, or if you've got a friend that's also making that decision. Don't not do it because your parents say you can't. There's always a way to do it, and if you generally think that you need to do it, do it. It's not the end of the world. Universities are generally so helpful when it comes to that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, the wellbeing team, all of them, they want you to be okay. They want you to be there and be happy, etc. And I was lucky enough that one of my German tutors was on that wellbeing team, so he knew me anyway, so it was a lot easier for me. But I know for those people who hate reaching out for help, it is really difficult. But the process at my uni anyway was so simple, and as long as you can kind of explain why you want a year off, but you don't really have to explain it. You can just say, I'm having a year off, my mental health is really bad, I need time off. You don't have to have a reason. I didn't have a hard reason, it wasn't like, oh, this has happened to me, I need time off. It was just like, I'm struggling, I'm not enjoying my time at uni, I'm having time out. And they're like, sure, okay, sign these forms, you can have the year off, that's no problem. And they've just been really supportive, and they email me, they check up on me, and yeah, that's why I would highly suggest, like, if you're thinking about it, at least start the conversation, because then people know, rather than just suddenly sending an email like, can't do it anymore. And I have done that over the last 2 years to my personal tutor. I've just literally every time I've come back to uni, I've been like, no, can't do it anymore. And he's always been like, Ellie, really, seriously, again, let's have a call. And I'm like, no, I'm fine now. And it's just so funny. But honestly, reach out for that help, even if you've got that kind of little tiny feeling that you don't want to do uni anymore, or you want to have time off, something like that. Just start the conversation. Like, something else could come about if you say, I'm really not feeling too good about uni, I don't like it here. Just send a message to your personal tutor, and they will help, because they've dealt with this so many times. At least one person in their tutor group each year for every cohort, and it's reassuring to know that you're not the only one. Like, I know that there's so many people who have done this. There's two of my other friends who are having time off as well to focus on work, and to focus again if they want to change course or something like that. So again, I didn't know they were doing it as well, so it wasn't like I did it because they were doing it. I'm doing it because I want to do it. So that's the first people. That's the first piece of advice I'd give. And then again, just reach out for help. And finally, I'd say that remember that if you are doing this, or even if you're not, if you're at uni, whatever you're doing right now, actually, remember that this is a time in investing your future happiness and success. No matter how old you are, I mean, I think most people listening to this will be around my age. This is your time when you're young to kind of invest in your future. I don't mean in a career way or a money way or anything like that. I mean in your happiness, because you can't get far in life unless you're happy, unless you know who you are, unless you know what I mean, you really have a connection with yourself, because then you will never be able to fine tune that when you've got all the stresses in the future, like family and a big job, etc. And this is the time now, kind of at the ages of 17 to 25, where you really have to start focusing on you and do the things you want to do. Don't do the things that your friends are doing. Don't do the things your parents think you should. Do things for you, whether that's go traveling or go to uni or don't go to uni, get a job, or just focus on your mental health at home for a bit. All of those are completely fine. And if anyone has a problem with that, kind of point them my way and I will speak to them because everyone deserves that chance to have time off with whatever you're doing. And I think it's really valuable. And I've already learned so much from having 4 months off. And my year off hasn't really started yet. So again, I'm kind of excited for what it's going to teach me. And maybe in a couple of months I will hate it and want to go back to uni ASAP. Obviously, I probably won't be able to, but you know what I mean? That's also why I'm doing a PT course and I'm doing some digital marketing courses alongside, because I want to keep busy. I want to keep doing stuff, and I have a job. So again, I'm trying to keep busy because I knew that I like to keep busy, and that's why I didn't like my course, because it wasn't as like arduous as I thought it would be, etc. So I'm keeping myself busy, but also prioritizing my mental health as well. So if you're considering this, and maybe you are because you clicked on the title of the episode, but have a proper think about it. And I'm always there to help, so you can always DM me, email me. I'll be there to help. And it's not an easy decision for a lot of people. For me, it was, because I was thinking about it for the whole time I was at uni. But yeah, there's always options with whatever you're doing. Even if you have a job and you're getting tired of it, you can always switch jobs, you know? You don't have to stay in the same place and live miserably. That's the piece of advice I'll leave you with, and I hope you have a good day. And I hope this wasn't too heavy for you. I just wanted to give some advice and shed some light on the topic. So, yeah, I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good bank holiday, and I'll speak to you very soon.